Welcome back to Angling 360 and welcome back to Loch Lomond. I love the place and I've been looking forward to this for a wee while now. We've not really cracked the feeder rods out as much as we normally would. This time of year, late September, early October, is perfect for hopefully a bag of Lomond roach. So feeder tactics, that's the aim of the day. Maybe some hybrids, maybe some bream. We'll see how it goes. Gordon is here somewhere. He takes his time, he likes to make sure everything's perfect, so he's not the quickest in the world, but he gets there in the end. All good?
Yep.
Ready to go?
All good. Alright.
Nice one. So the first thing at any feeder session, once you've chosen your spot and you know what feature you're fishing to, basically we're just fishing to the drop-off, just the shoreline drop-off, nothing in particular.
Alex likes to hog the whole area.
Yeah, the first thing you need to think about is your ground bait mix. And yeah, we'll show that just now. Ground bait mixes. This is something that there's endless choices out there. There's shelves and shelves and shelves of different brands and different types. And to be honest, I don't think it really matters. It's down to what gives you confidence. Confidence is always key in fishing. You fish far more effectively, far more efficiently if you've got that confidence. So today we've got, basically we'll start off with brown crumb. Brown crumb is always it's a fantastic sort of base to any ground bait mix. It's nice and fluffy, and it creates a nice cloud in the water. And then to that you can pretty much add anything you want. My go-to on Lomond is Dynamite Bait Silver X Roach. Again, it's a cereal based ground bait, so it absorbs quite a lot of water, and it's great. You can change the consistency of it depending on what you want it to do. If you want it nice and light and fluffy to create that cloud, you can do. If you want to dampen it down that little bit more to maybe pin your bait onto the bottom, you can do that also. So yeah, Dynamite Bait Silver X I'd always have that for roach fishing on any loch really. But then, as well as your sort of fish, your cereal based baits, you've got fish meal based baits, which in their own right are pretty good. This one is it's actually a method mix, but it works with a cage feeder as well, and that's what we're going to fish today, primarily a cage feeder. We might switch to window feeders later on. We'll talk through the feeder choices later. But yeah, fish meal is a slightly heavier mix, so it's great to maybe add into the mix later on just to get that bait pinned on the bottom. Initially, when you're trying to draw fish into your swim, it is great to have that cloud of fluffy bait. And then, like I said, as your session progresses, you really want to pin those fish onto the bottom, and that's when you can maybe start adding in some fish meal, or even just dampen down your mix. So yeah, let's get it together. Now when you're mixing your bait, I wouldn't mix too much at one time. It's better to mix a little bit, and then you can add to it as the bait goes on. There's nothing worse than finishing a session and you've still got 2 kilos of ground bait all made up, because it doesn't keep. Once it's wet, it will not keep. It'll go quite fusty and quite smelly. So yeah, little bits at a time, and you can always add to it as you go. Mix it dry. So we've got brown crumb in there, Silver X, and it's just a small amount at the minute. And then any particles you want to add it in while it's dry. So don't go anywhere without this. Brilliant for roach, brilliant for bream, tench, carp, absolutely anything. Hemp seed, fish absolutely love it. So yeah, let's get some of that in it. And the reason I would put the particles in first is because we're going to need to add a bit of water to this to dampen it down. But there's quite a lot of liquid already in this, so get your particles in first, get the water in there as well. In fact, this one's actually quite dry. I think I've never used it all. And give that a mix. Now with regards to mixing your ground bait, there are tools out there that make it a lot easier. You can get a ground bait mixer, basically a big giant food processor and an end of a drill. But there's nothing wrong with just getting your hands in and giving that a tough around. We're going to add maggots to this at some point, but I'm not going to put them in straight away, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 10 feeder fulls out initially, just to get a bed of bait there, and then we'll fish the maggots over the top of that, just casting regularly like you would do normally, not normal feeder fishing. But yeah, get a bed of hemp and ground bait out there first. Once that's mixed, that's when you want to add a little bit of water. Now this is where you really need to be careful. Add a little bit at a time. You can always add more water, but you can't take any water out once you put too much in. And initially, it's going to be quite dry, because like I said, we want to create that cloud in the water to attract fish in. Still too dry there, a little bit again. And then once you've got that consistency right, it should, or you should, be able to just squeeze it into a sort of ball, but then it should break up quite easily as well. So that's just about right. And then before you use it, I would leave it for 5 minutes or so. You might need to add a little bit more water into it after the 5 minutes.
Can we get it in the water?
And then we'll get some bait in the water.
Right, crack on.
Let's do it. The key to success in feeder fishing, any type of feeder fishing, is accuracy. The way I would normally go about it is to pick a point on the horizon, or the tip of an island. 2 islands in front of us, one to the left, one directly in front of us. And I'm going to aim pretty much for the gap in between the two. And I'm going to keep the cast relatively comfortable. You don't want to be firing this out as far as you can possibly go in conditions like this, where it's flat calm, and then the wind picks up a little bit later on. And you struggle to get that distance. Start short. If the wind picks up, you should still be able to hit that distance quite comfortably. And then, if you can, later on in the day, we can just lengthen it slightly just to try and pick up any fish that are sitting off the back of that baited area. Distance is key as well. And to make sure they're hitting the same distance every single time, I'm going to use the clip on the reel. I've not clipped up yet, so let's get that out here. So a comfortable chuck. And I've stopped that where it's landed. Now I can hit that mark pretty comfortably. And then I'm just going to use the clip of the reel. Empty the feeder. So now every single cast, assuming I'm aiming to that same spot, that gap in the islands.
Yeah, I'll come back to you after 10 chucks.
Should be bang on. 10 chucks and we'll get fishing.
Fish must smell the ground bait.
Yeah, there's fish topping all over the place, so I can't wait to actually get this out here. But we'll talk quickly, very, very quickly through the rig. Now the rig that you use is completely up to you. There's loads of ways to do it. I like this one. Gordon, you're not too keen on it.
That gives me a headache.
But basically what we've got right on the end of the rig is a twizzled boom. Now that just acts as a boom to kick your hook link, which I will add to it, kicks your hook link away from your feeder. And your feeder here is running on a loop with a couple of small beads either side of it. So it acts as a sort of semi-fixed bolt rig. You've got that amount of give before the feeder bumps up against this knot and it hopefully hooks the fish. So it's like almost like a self-hooking rig. But if the fish are a wee bit finicky, you've got that little bit of give before the fish feel the weight of the feeder. So you can see how that boom there, that twizzled boom, just kicks out away from the feeder with your hook link attached, which it will be soon. And it works quite well as an anti-tangle rig. That's my go-to, but yeah, there's loads of ways, and we'll maybe have a look at other rigs we can use later on.
Mine's is a lot simpler.
It is a lot simpler. It's just as effective, but yeah, confidence. It's all about confidence, and I like this. Yeah, right. Quite a large feeder to start with. It's a nice consistency now. Stays in the feeder, should explode into a cloud and bring those fish in. Let's go. Never mind a pot of gold. I hope there's a bag of silver at the end of that.
I don't think I've seen a more spectacular rainbow. Any bites yet?
Nah. It'll take a wee bit of time, I think. Sometimes you'll get bites straight away, but most of the time you need to draw the fish in, so give it an hour, it'll be a bite of jerk.
Aye, you said it now.
Hey, a wee perch. I'll take it bigger than that.
You've probably noticed that when I filmed Alex doing his talk earlier this morning, it was like a summer's day. Now, if I'm standing at the North Sea, it's brutal. But I did get a good kip during the kind of couple of hours where nothing happened. Alex assures me that the windier conditions is better for the feeder fishing, albeit harder to keep your eye on the bites and the tip of the rod, sorry, with the bites. The waves hit the line and kind of gives you false bites, but I was crap at hitting them anyway, so we'll see how we go with the change in the weather. We do have a pike rod out over in the corner there, with a dead bait on it, so hopefully my luck can change with a wee bit of, with the alarm screaming off at some point towards the end of the day. Other than that, I've had a horrific day. I think I've caught a perch. Aye, we'll persevere in the wind. We need to give this wee mic a wee test out. Back at the editing suite, I'll tell you, see the wind in your ears with your earphones on, it's brutal. So we're hoping this helps us out.
So it's been quite a challenging day. The conditions not making it much easier. The wind really picked up for a wee bit there and it's thrown up a bit of a chop on the water. It's hard enough seeing roach bites at the best of times, but when your rod tip's bouncing around in the wind and the waves, it can be really tricky. So it's time for a wee rig change, a wee tweak. The rig I was using, the rig I showed you right at the very beginning of this video, had quite a long hook length on it. The longer the hook length, the harder it is to sometimes see the bites, because that fish has got a lot more space to move around before it makes contact with the rod tip. We've changed to what we call a helicopter rig. It's used in all sorts of fishing. The idea here is it's a self-hooking rig. It's a bolt rig. Very short hook length. That hook length's about 6 inches long. We could probably make it even shorter still. And it's called the helicopter rig because it rotates, it spins round your rig body basically. Feeder, exactly the same thing, feeder. But it's just that shorter hook length, that much shorter hook length gives the fish much less room to move before you see that indication on the rod. So it should hopefully make it a wee bit easier to see the bites, and hopefully the fish will hook themselves and we'll be able to land a few more. So yeah, let's give it a go. Very good. It feels quite nice. How about that for a first fish?
That's a bit of a lump.
It's well over a pound. Now there's a perfect example of this, the size that some of these roach can go to. Well over a pound, and that's just the first fish. If they keep coming like that, I'll be a happy chappy. And get them in the net. So we've been fishing for about 4 hours.
Well, you have.
He's been sleeping for 3. It's been slow. It's been really slow. We've had a few fish. Nothing close to the fish we got this morning. My PB roach is £1.6.5, £1.6.5. It was from Lomond. Yeah. Not quite sure this is there, but we're going to give it a weigh just to see if it's anywhere near.
This is a genuine reaction, so I have not weighed this prior to putting the camera on.
It's well over a pound, well at least I'm saying it's well over a pound, but is it anywhere near £1.6.5? What is it? Sorry.
Let the camera see first, then we'll have a look.
Doesn't feel overly heavy, but I'm going £1.4.
How many ounces in a pound?
16. Let me have a look.
What did I say this morning? £1.5.
Is that £1.5?
If my sums are right,
21 ounces.
you've beat your PB by another ½ ounce.
20, no. 21, that's £1.5.
Oh, he's got £1.6.
£1.5. £1.5. Still a nice fish. Not quite a PB, but hey, oh,
So close.
So when roach get to this size, they become quite impressive. Not the little razor blades that we're used to. £1.5 ounce. Pretty much made the day. Let's get back.